Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Our current session is on some theoretical concepts about language as a system. Well, I hope and expect by the end of this session you would be able to understand language when it operates as a system. Well, my dear students, human language is a well-organized and a well-crafted instrument. All the basic components of a language work in tandem in a coherent and in a systematic manner to make it operate or to make it meaningful. And they are not a random collection of disparate units. Each part of the language, be it the grammatical aspect of language, be it the semantic, syntactic, or orthographic aspects of language, or be it, the pragmatic aspects of language, all these aspects hand in hand give language the shape and the form that it has when it is used by human beings. A study of language is basically a study of its systems and subsystems. Now, these systems can be phonological systems, these can be morphological systems, these can be semantic or syntactic systems, these can be grammatical systems of the rules and regulations, etc. And actually, this is the idea behind when, from the theoretical perspective, we look at language as a system. At this time point, I would like to make it clear that since language has been one of the most intriguing and one of the most interesting topics of studies and of research and of exploration for the researchers, educationists, linguists, etc. So, language at different time points in the history by people from different disciplines of life has been looked at in different ways, and it has been interpreted and perceived in different ways. And one of those ways is to look at language as a system. Well, when we look at language as a system, we acknowledge that each unit of language, from a single sound to a complex word to a large text, whether it is spoken or it is written, it has a character of its own, or it is unique. And each of these units, when they co-occur, they create texts. Phonological system is one of the subsystems, I would say, when we consider language as a system. This deals, for example, with the sounds, with the patterns of sounds. Then there is this semantic system, which deals with the meaning of the words. And then we have syntactic system, which deals with the rules of grammar. I would just give you a few examples. So at the phonological level, well, stop consonants are distinguished from one another according to their place of articulation, at what point or at what place in human mouth they are produced. So whether they are bilabial or they are allovelar or they are velar. And their manner of articulation, whether they are voiced or they are voiceless, means through the process of their production, whether the sound is obstructed somewhere or it is not obstructed, etc. So here are some example of the bilabial, allovelar, velar, voiced and voiceless sounds. So for example, for the voiceless, p, t, and k, and for the voiced, b, d, and g. So, differentiating and all that, and acknowledging that each of these has its own particular characteristics. This is what would be dealt with at the phonological level. So phonemes, as they are called, have contrastive value in the sense that replacing one with the other will make a different word, as in pit or in bit, or in ten or in den. When you replace p with b, or when you replace t with d, different new word combinations are made. And at the phonological level, these varieties and how these are created by replacing different sounds is, examined when a language is looked at as a system. Here is an example of when we look at it as semantics. Every phoneme, which is a collection of morpheme, which is a collection of phonemes arranged in a particular way in the written form, it expresses a distinct meaning. So, there would be different meanings of the different words. For example, when we have the word pen and when we have the word hen in the written forms, for example. So each of these would have a different meaning. So how by replacing these morphological aspects, for example, the meaning making process takes place, and in the system of language, these two units would have different meanings. Semantics would deal with that. Free morphemes can occur independently, for example, den or dance. Bound morphemes, for example, plurals with s or past tense with ed are attached to a free morpheme, for example, dens or danced. So, these are all the processes where we are looking at language actually as a system, where, within the system, addition or subtraction of certain elements in a unit or in a set of, units results in creating a variety of meanings in the language. When it comes to the syntactic aspect of the system of language, well, the baby is sleeping peacefully can be one example. It would only be grammatical because of the way the words have been strung together. If you change the sequence of the words, the syntactic structure of this sentence, instead of the baby is sleeping peacefully, if you make it like is sleeping baby the peacefully, if you just change the organization of these words in the on the structural string of this sentence, the meaning would be lost. Sometimes, by replacing the positioning of one of the items on this string of structure, the meaning is changed. For example, the baby is sleeping peacefully. When is picked up from here and brought to the beginning, is the baby sleeping peacefully? Then it becomes more like a question instead of remaining a statement. But, colorless green ideas sleep furiously. If you look at this, it has exactly the same structure as we had in the previous sentence, but it may not make any sense to you. So these examples show that nouns and verbs and adjectives are not just hitched end to end. It is not that there is a particular sequence in which you just bring together certain nouns or adjectives or verbs to make them have some meaning. Rather, there is some overarching blueprint, or there is some plan for the sentence that puts each word in a specific slot. And I have quoted this from Pinker, 1994, by the way. When we talk of language as a system, actually it enables a language user to combine phonemes to form words, words to form phrases, phrases to form sentences, and sentences to form spoken or written text. Each unit follows its own rules as well as the rules of combinations.